They're the best of friends.
Do I got anything in my stash? Be clean. Why is he here?
In town for their high school reunion.
I've been back exactly 4 minutes.
But they have one big problem.
I want to give you this.
It's brown.
You buy a colored diamond for a girl you're not even seeing, man. You've been eating meat sandwiches again.
They're all falling in love
You can slip into something more comfortable.
with beautiful girls.
They're all sisters, Will. Trust me, they're all sisters. It's one big conspiracy.
It's the must-see comedy critics are calling hilarious.
Look at this. Your favorite.
I can go along with that.
Yeah, that's nice, right? Well, these are Silicon City. I could hang my overcoat on them.
Sexy.
Can you think of anything better than making love to an attractive stranger in the middle of a frozen lake with just a oil light to guide your way?
A great comedy.
What part of Chicago are you from?
Do you know Chicago?
Yeah, I know, like, Soldiers Field.
Siskel and Ebert give it 2 thumbs up.
What do you want?
You drooling, obsessed lunatic.
Okay, that's fair.
Matt Dillon, Academy Award winner Timothy Hutton, Rosie O'Donnell, Natalie Portman, Michael Rappaport, Academy Award winner Mira Sorvino, and Academy Award nominee Uma Thurman.
You drunk?
I don't know, but you both look very beautiful.
A beautiful girl can make you dizzy. She can make you feel high. A beautiful girl is all powerful, and that is as good as love.
He's insane. He's obsessed. You're all obsessed.
Beautiful Girls, the seriously funny hit movie from director Ted Demme.
And you guys, as a gender, have got to get a grip. Otherwise, the future of the human race is in jeopardy.
Welcome.
Sorry, I'm being an asshole.
No, you're all good. I'm digging this energy. Welcome to Dorky Now. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and girls with big tits have big asses, and girls with little tits have little asses. That's the way it goes. God doesn't fuck around. He's a fair guy. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorky Now, Margot D. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. I have a reading I will do later
I
in
can't
this
wait.
episode.
I can't wait. We have so many thoughts and feelings. We are dorking out about 1996's Beautiful Girls. This movie is 28 years old, so it's too old for Timothy Hutton's character to date. It's directed by Ted Demme, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
It's written by Scott Rosenberg, who would actually, just a few years later, play around with some of the ideas in this movie more successfully with High Fidelity, a movie that we can absolutely dork out about sometime because I think there's some good stuff to talk about there. But this one stars Matt Dillon. It's a very good-looking cast, by the way. Matt Dillon.
They're all gorgeous.
Yes, Matt Dillon, very hunky. Noah Emmerich, I already mentioned Timothy Hutton, Annabeth Gish, the Gish, as I like to call her.
The Gishter.
The Gishter. Lauren Holly, Rosie O'Donnell, who I will say back in the day, I was very excited to see Rosie O'Donnell. Max Perlich, Martha Plimpton, and of course, Natalie Portman's in there. Michael Rappaport. I'm just going down the list. Mira Sorvino, Uma Thurman, a very young David Arquette. He's so cute.
Yeah, he's cute.
He's very cute. Did you see this movie in the theater?
You're goddamn right I did, because it was an age when I would see everything with Timothy Hutton.
Yes.
I mean, I love Matt Dillon. I am genetically designed, just generations of my DNA. I meant to find him attractive.
Yes.
And he is attractive, by the way.
He is.
But boy, Timothy Hutton, when he did Ordinary People.
Oh, I have never seen Ordinary People.
It's so funny. It's
It's a laugh riot. No, the reason I haven't watched it is for very obvious reasons. It's a stone cold bummer. I don't want. It's hard to sign up for that, but I will. It is on my list, and I will watch it. But I saw this in the theater too, because this movie was like peak Miramax. It's like executive produced.
Peak 90s Miramax rom-com.
Yes. Like,
which they thought was better than the regular rom-coms. Like
yes.
this is supposed to be the smarter version of it, which it's already up its own ass.
It's so up its own ass. Executive
first 2
producer,
minutes.
like Harvey Weinstein, tells you pretty much everything you need to know. I know. It's basically like, yeah, the more like more male accepted version of a rom-com. Like, dudes would see beautiful girls, but they wouldn't see like a typical rom-com, but they would see something like this, but whatever. Yeah. Anyway, let's just get into it.
Do we have to?
Yeah, we have to. We have to. So the movie opens, we got like Timothy Hutton is, by the way, I'm not going to call any of these characters by their names, I'm sure. Like, they're just by their actor names. That's it. Timothy Hutton is like a piano player in New York, and he goes back to his small town in, I don't know what state. Massachusetts. Thank you.
Assholes.
To go to his high school reunion, because so many movies in the 90s were about going to your high school reunion.
And I'm like, you mean the 15-year reunion? No, yeah. They really mean 10 for him.
Yeah, they no offense, but he's older than everybody else in the cast, and the fact that these dudes are supposed to be 27 or 28 and are still behaving the way they're behaving in this movie is one of the many things about this movie that I don't like. Like,
I mean, but let's say this. It's very true to life.
I guess that's true.
I guess you could say that that's part of the anger, because this is like exactly how a lot of guys behave.
Yes.
To this day.
Exactly. Yes. And we're going to get into that. So we'll go through all the different storylines. Yeah. We have Matt Dillon, who has a gorgeous girlfriend, Mira Sorvino. She's beautiful, like adorable. Everybody drink. But he's also like having an affair with his like high school sweetheart, Lauren Holly, who's also very beautiful. Then we have Michael Rappaport, who works as they both work as like snow plowers. He had a girlfriend, Martha Plimpton, who I love, for 7 years. She was like, either we get married or we break up, and he's like, peace out. And so she broke up with him, and he's
the nerve.
Yeah, the nerve of her. And he's a huge fucking man baby about it, and he like plows snow into her driveway every time it snows because he's the injured party in their breakup, apparently. And he's super obsessed with the fact that she's dating someone else. But by the way, every review I read still refers to her as Michael Rappaport's girlfriend, and like he's somehow wronged. He isn't. There's Noah Emmerich, who is actually probably the only normal person in this movie.
Yeah, he's normie.
Yeah, he's married. He has 2 kids. He's like a plant manager, and everyone else in this movie thinks like, ew, I wouldn't want his life. Like, oh, that's what being married is. And I'm like, I don't know. Dude looks pretty happy and satisfied and has kids and
a nice house and a nice wife, and seems perfectly cool with his life.
Yes. And then Timothy Hutton has been dating the Gish for like a year, and he comes back to his reunion and then immediately gets the hots for the 13-year-old Natalie Portman, who lives next door.
The whole meet cute of that is so fucking unsettling, disturbing. I mean, I posted it on social media, and I should have known better that like some people would be like, oh, I love emojis.
Yeah, like I love this movie, and it's really icky, and like she instantly is like, I'm 13, but I'm an old soul. Fucking like
the writing in this movie, which I'm sure people were splooging over themselves over, because it is, I guess it's above a rom-com, but it's trying way too hard. Like, these people are idiots, but they're all super clever.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
they only talk like movie characters. Mm-hmm. She is one of those 13-year-olds you only see in movies. Like, she, is super smart, very like clever, and she's adorable. Everybody drink. Like, but he is instantly like hubba hubba, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? She's 13. A pretty young. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It's all from The Professional, which I can't remember if that's before or after.
I think it was right before this, and
it's all these people sexualizing a child.
Yes. And she looks like a pretty young 13 in this movie.
She's teeny. She's tiny.
Yes.
She's not. Yeah, this is not. I mean, I don't know if she got her period yet or anything like that.
Totally.
I mean, she just seems really young to me.
Yes.
And so, but he's immediately like staring at her, and she has to explain things like, "I'm going to be 5'10". I'm going to be hot." Blah,
Yeah.
blah, like, what?
It's really yucky.
First of all, no, you're not going to be. I mean, you'll always be beautiful, but you're 5'10".
I'm like, I think Natalie Portman's like 5'3".
What did they call, yeah, she is. And also, I think it goes back to Sex and the City had a term called modelizers. Like, there's a lot of modelizing.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's two like really big speeches in this movie, and one is, I mean, we're jumping all over the place, but one is,
sorry.
It's okay. One is Rosie O'Donnell, who gives the big speech that I referenced at the beginning about how the shit's not real. Like, models have weaves, there's Photoshop, there's, they Photoshop out the cellulite. Real women have that's, women get breast implants, whatever, like all these things. And she goes on and on and on, and I'm not going to read the whole speech. And it's a big speech that, like, I know women, when I saw it, were like, yeah, and it ends with like Matt Dillon and Timothy Hutton just going, like, what was that about? And then one of them says, great ass. And the other one says, nice tits. And they like fucking go about their business, and I'm like, and then I'm like, these are the same people who would describe like Margot Robbie as mid or something, and then,
well,
go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry. No, you go.
I was going to say Timothy Hutton is engaged to a woman, and we haven't seen her yet.
Yes.
But he says, well, she's like a 7.5.
Yeah.
Annabeth Gish is not a 7.5 for one thing.
Yeah, she's
but
the
fact
Gish.
That she is the dish, and she's always been adorable. Everybody drink.
Yes.
We all drink about Annabeth Gish because she's so adorable.
Yes.
But she's also just like, that's the woman you're thinking of marrying, and you're just kind of describing her in such a cheesy level.
Yeah.
To your friends.
And he's like, I don't know, I'm kind of bored or whatever. And I'm like, every woman in this movie deserves better. All of them.
We all do it, and every woman sitting in the audience deserves better. I mean, these are Oscar winners or Oscar-nominated, Emmy-nominated actresses that are slumming it in this thing because they're working with hot young actors. And you want to be in a movie. You want to be in a Miramax movie. They got a lot of promotion at the time. They got a lot of attention, the big soundtracks and shit. So, you do it, but oh my God.
Yeah. And then Michael Rappaport gives a big speech about like supermodels and how like, and it's total movie. It's just like, beautiful girl can make you dizzy, can make you feel like you've been drinking Jack and Coke all morning. Blah, blah, blah. Just it's so gross. And you and I, right before we started recording, you were like, this is like incel talk. And it totally is. It's like these dudes who think that this is what every woman should be. And Uma Thurman shows up, and her sole role in this movie is to teach every man a fucking lesson. What a waste of Uma Thurman. Because
this is before Kill Bill, by the way.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, all these women are being objectified to the hilt.
Yes.
But she also, her whole thing is like, that, like you said, she's there to drop wisdom, and everyone's going to fall over themselves. I've seen Uma Thurman in person before, by the way. She is that beautiful and that tall. And of course people fall over that. But the main part of her job is to like flirt with every guy and relate to every guy and make them feel better about themselves.
Yeah. And she's definitely the cool girl. Like, I'm a cool girl, drinking shots with them and going ice fishing and then teaching them important lessons.
But they're not going to learn.
No.
They don't take anything in.
No, at all. And by the way, just on top of all that, this movie's constantly throwing around the R word. It's constantly throwing around gay slurs. Like, that shit
there's
was...
no gay people here, by the way.
Yeah,
there's
and no black
no one
people
of color.
either. No one of color.
It's just very... I mean, that's probably in a, Massachusetts working class town like that. Yeah, that's probably what it mostly would be. But we're meant to think of them as salt of the earth. when they're just the scum of the earth.
It's just they're really icky. I feel like the movie wants us to like these guys, and I don't like any of them.
No.
Like Michael Rappaport at another point in the movie shows up at the restaurant where Martha Plimpton is working. By the way, she's super right to break up with him because, first of all, he's a grown man with fucking supermodel pictures pasted all over his wall. Like, grow up. He half-ass proposes to her with a diamond that is champagne or dirt, depending on who you ask. And she says no. Because no, this is like the desperate act of a desperate man. And he makes a fucking scene in her restaurant because he's a dick. And I think we're supposed to think it's funny, but I don't think it's funny.
Well, we're supposed to think Michael Rappaport is funny when he does a lot of shit. He's really into the Bravo shows. And he says a lot of sexist shit on like Watch What Happens Live and all the conventions and shit. I mean, that's just his character. He's also in real life. Like he was arrested for stalking Lily Taylor when they were dating.
Oh, shit.
This guy, he's not a nice guy. The entitlement of these men and the attention they feel they deserve.
Yes.
Without giving a fucking thing in a relationship.
Yes.
Is off the charts.
Yes. And then we have poor Mira Sorvino, who loves the Matt Dillon character. He's cheating on her. She knows it. She doesn't break up with him. And even when Rosie O'Donnell's like, you need to break up with him, she doesn't. In fact, she's like, well, what if I throw him a nice surprise birthday party? Like, maybe he'll see that I really love him. It's really painful.
Pathetic.
It's really pathetic. It's painful to watch. I definitely have been that girl that's like, you're settling for like being second best. Because you think it's what you deserve. And they talk about how she has an eating disorder, but they don't say it blatantly, but she is starving herself because she thinks if she's skinny enough, maybe he will love her. All this bullshit.
Toxic bullshit.
Yes.
I remember this age watching this and being mad in the audience, but I think also realizing, like, I remember when I moved to New York and I'm in my early 20s and I'm going to date.
Yes.
It's not high school dating or college dating. I'm going to go to a restaurant with linen tablecloths and weekend trips and, a love language and, nicknames and all this shit.
Yes.
And just the entitlement of men in their 20s and just how much they just expect a supermodel to just jump into their bed, through the ceiling and into their bed, Santa Claus style, like Tim Allen and Santa Claus, for doing nothing.
Yes.
And then I remember
for existing.
For just existing. And then their older friends who were divorced would be hitting on me. Not someone my age. Do you know, you've been through this? Like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's like, it's so revolting. It's just like I said, the entitlement is off the charts. This is pure like incel talking.
Yes. Like
they don't think, like they just really look down on all the women that they have and what they should have.
Yes.
And who you're willing to commit to and why is just. And then you have on top of that shit sandwich, the stuff with Natalie Portman and Timothy Hutton, whose character stares at her.
Yes.
Who engages with her, inappropriate boundaries with a child.
Yes.
I mean, and there's one point where he says to Noah Emmerich, he says he's 29, LOL. But he says, what if I wait 10 years and wait for her?
Yes.
And he's like, no. And he's like, no, it'll be perfect because she'll be 23 and I'll be 39. I'll be great. I'm like, she'll only be 23. She should be able to like experience life. I'm like, you're pinning this on a child?
It's so icky.
Ugh.
And then there's also like a whole thing where like Michael Rappaport's like, hey, if she can cut her own food, she's fair game. Like, it's so fucking gross.
Yeah.
It's really, really icky. Super inappropriate. It's supposed to be played in this like I don't know, fucking Merrimack's twee eccentric way that we're supposed to be like, that's fine. But it's not fine.
But people liked it. I mean, we have to say, like, it did pretty well.
Yeah.
And like, I put some clips on TikTok, and I can't tell you how many people were like, or either they said, oh, I love this movie, but I haven't seen it in a while. Or people were like, God, I used to like this movie, but damn, it doesn't play well now.
No. And the fact that people were complaining that the Barbie movie is like feminism 101, that it doesn't go deep enough, that we don't need that right now. The fact that Rosie O'Donnell's character gives this big speech about how what you see in magazines and movies and TV isn't real, and like that shit has still not registered, proves that we still need feminism 101 for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Ugh, this movie. There's also some weird stuff with like Lauren Holly's character. Mira Sorvino throws the surprise party for Matt Dillon because she's a very nice person who really wants to make this dick love her. Seems like a nice party. They're eating lobster. They got sheet cake. I want to go to that party. And for some reason, Lauren Holly shows up at the party. She's married. She's having an affair with Matt Dillon. She shouldn't be there. I don't know how she found out about the party or who invited her. She brings a gift. She's super inappropriate. Like, Mira Sorvino leaves, as she should, by the way. And he finally, like, turns her down. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And there's a whole thing about their reunion, and they should go to the reunion together. And he's like, I'm not going. She goes to the reunion, and some dude there is like, you were beautiful, but you were mean as a snake. And I'm like, are we supposed to super hate Lauren Holly? Because she's just as guilty as Matt Dillon.
Oh, absolutely she is.
Yes.
I mean, these men have been shitting on women this whole time in this movie. And I get this guy was probably teased by her, and she was a bitch in high school. But there's nothing to counterbalance that.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't even get to say, I am so sorry.
Yes.
You know, because I had somebody who was really mean to me in high school
me too.
And approached me and said, I am so sorry. I was terrible. That was not cool. And I was like shocked. But yeah, I mean, people do grow up.
Yes.
I mean, but it was like, seriously, like you're cheating on, well, she is married and she's cheating on her husband, Matt Dillon, but he's cheating too.
Yes, exactly. And then there's, he doesn't go to the reunion.
The writer wanted to take advantage. By the way, that's him pissed off at a girl from high school.
For sure.
Or somebody in that, some executives or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Dillon's character, so he skips the reunion and he says he's going to stay home and watch Rich Man, Poor Man, all 12 parts. And I do think it's funny. Michael Rappaport's like, could you tape it? And he's like, you can't tape Rich Man, Poor Man, which was a mini series from like the fucking 70s or something. Like, kids these days wouldn't even know what that is. But he actually goes to a bar, and Lauren Holly's husband is there because for some reason he didn't go to the reunion, and he beats the shit out of Matt Dillon's character.
Yeah, he's not as pretty.
And I mean, he gets his friends involved, which is definitely not fair. But also, Matt Dillon was sleeping with his wife. Like, I'm not saying violence is okay, but I'm saying he was sleeping with his wife. Like, and and then when he ends up in the hospital, and all the dudes like run to the hospital, and they're like, we're gonna beat up Lauren Holly's husband, and they show up and they like crash the snowplow into like his friend's car, and they're gonna beat him up and all this stuff. And it's like, your friend slept with that dude's wife. Like, he kind of had an ass kicking coming.
Yeah.
I think Hutton's character actually says, like, he was sleeping with that guy's wife. And they're like, fuck it. They don't care. Like, they're just going to beat his ass.
No, they all are aggro, and they want to let out that energy.
Yeah.
And show the women, this is what men do.
This is what men do. And by the way, the Gish has now shown up.
And
she's a fucking delight.
She is a delight.
Everyone loves her.
And they should, but it's also like she's this circus freak that shows up in the middle of this movie. Like everyone just stares at her, like, and she's a perfectly normal, nice person, like a nice, smart lady who's reasonable and friendly. And it's just sort of like, it's just bizarre.
Yes, she's lovely to everyone. She shows up at he's staying with his father. His mother has passed away at some point, and the dad is still like really, really depressed. That's never dealt with. It's just like, yeah, that's a thing. Like, he's just super depressed. And then we have, like, you know, cute young David Arquette, who's, like, so excited to have a lady in the house. He, like, can barely, he's like, oh, something popped up. Like, covering his little trapper keeper over
and of course,
like,
and of course, exactly. But also, like, of course, she had to cook them a meal.
Yes!
Like, none of them can do that. Like,
Yes!
they never even brought home, like, some Chinese food or something. But then he says, oh, I'm going to go upstairs, whole line. Do you want to take a shower or do I want to take a shower? We're going to go out. We're both going to shower. And so he's like, oh, I'll do it first. So he goes up the stairs and David Arquette is just like, oh my God, you're so awesome.
Yeah.
You know, which is great. He's like Chris Farley. Like, he's all like,
remember when you made us that dinner?
That was superb.
It was so good.
But he's going up the stairs and that's when he sees Natalie Portman bringing her sled in.
Yeah, because she's a child.
And she noticed that his girlfriend came over from New York. And then she says, is he pretty? And he's like, oh, she's okay. I'm just like screaming at my TV, fuck you,
seriously,
Timothy Hutton. Like, you're downplaying that woman now, like 10 feet away from you.
Where she cooked for your family.
I mean, the shit he probably puts her through. It's a downgrade for her.
Yes.
No.
All the women in this movie fucking downgrade. Like, none of these couples stay together. None of them, except for Noah Emmerich and his wife.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he and his wife, but I think they should just move away. This is cut your losses, start over.
Totally move away. Like, fuck this town. Get the fuck out of there. Matt Dillon gets his ass kicked. Sorvino is a fucking saint who shows up at the hospital and, like, takes him back. I guess we're supposed to think that him opting not to cheat this one time and that getting an ass kicking is personal growth.
That means he really likes her.
I guess so.
Do it again.
Right. And then Rappaport actually clears Martha Plimpton's driveway instead of packing it with snow, which, again, I guess is personal growth for this movie. So we're supposed to be like, he's on the right track. Like, this movie sucks.
It's so childish. I mean, they were saying that the writer, he was 30 when he wrote it, and he wrote it in like 5 days.
It feels
I'm
like
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. It's just...
It's so twee in its writing.
Yes.
I mean, just that whole thing about rich man, poor. Honestly, even after a while, I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, all right, let's, I mean, no guy gives a shit about rich man, poor man. Like, what are we even talking about?
No, they all love Brian's song. Everybody knows that.
Exactly. If they said the Salem's Lot TV movie, I'm like, oh, that I get.
Well, shit, I'd stay home. I'd stay home from the reunion to watch the Salem's Lot TV movie. I get it.
Y'all, high school reunions are very overrated. You really don't have to go.
You don't have to go, and I'm not convinced they do these life-changing things. I've been to mine. My life didn't change much.
No, the people do, and it's odd to interact. If you don't keep up with people, it's odd to interact with 40, 50-somethings when you're in your head, like they're 18, 17, 18. It's very odd.
That's true. That's weird. But these movies,
strange.
Yeah, these movies about reunions never go into that. Like, it's all about just other male bullshit, really. Like, think about, like, Grosse Point Blank and whatever.
Yes. Did we do that one?
We did. Oh, yeah. We did. And what I remember we really, really loved was Minnie Driver and John Cusack are so good in that movie. Like, the chemistry between them.
Where I was perfect.
Yeah, I was like, could we get another movie with just them doing something else? Because they are so good at it. Like, they're better than... Other people love Grosse Point Blank, by the way. It's like, I get that that's their fave,
I know.
but like, I would like to see those two actors in something else because they had bananas chemistry, in my opinion. Let's see. Things I wrote in here. At an hour mark, I paused this movie and realized I still had 52 minutes to go, and I audibly went, ugh. To the point where my son went, what's wrong?
I gotta watch this movie.
I'm like, the movie's only halfway through.
It's too long.
It's too long. There's all the stuff with Uma Thurman. She deserves so much better.
She gets better with Kill Bill series.
Yes.
I mean, she gets better parts, but it's like, because even before this, she had some really good parts. I don't know what they had. I mean, I wonder, I was thinking, like, I wonder who was fucking who. And, like, why?
Yeah.
Like, was she seeing Timothy Hutton? So that's why she's in this movie?
I don't know. Was she?
Well, no, I know my roommate, when I first moved to New York, she used to, she wrote for a TV magazine, not TV Guide, but she would go to TV movie sets,
yes.
And there was one where Timothy Hutton was the star of this movie, and like the rumor was like he laid pipe, like. I'm
sorry, I haven't heard that term in so long. I was not expecting that. You're so funny.
A coxman.
Well, you're going to turn into grumpy old men. The Burgess Meredith character, he's taking the hot dog to Tuna Town.
Tuna Town. He's a tomcat on the prowl. I was hoping that when they were in that fishing tank.
Yeah, I'm like, where's that?
Where's Burgess Meredith knocking on the door? You goddamn kids, get out of there. That would have been amazing.
He's taking One-Eyed Willie to the optometrist.
He's taking the skid boat to Tuna Town.
That's what it was. I wish that was in this movie.
That's the kind of humor I needed. I needed a genuine laugh.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. I'm practically crying. I wasn't expecting that. So, yeah, maybe a bunch of people were sleeping with each other in this movie. I mean, if I was in this movie, I would have been like, hello, Matt Dillon. Like,
well, yeah, the script is terrible, and you're in this godforsaken place. And
what else
freezing.
you got to do?
What else?
I'm bored. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's icky. It's so icky. The Portman Hutton stuff really, really stands out. And I was reading different reviews, and I felt like this one was this quote was pretty representative of the stuff I was reading, where it says, this is Peter Traver from Rolling Stone, and he says, Hutton and Portman make tender movie magic, giving this big screen spin of Friends its only moments of true romantic yearning. That's icky. That's icky.
She's 13.
She's 13.
He's 30. And then at the end, they all, and people still do this, they make like the Lolita comments.
Yes.
And here's the story about Lolita, y'all. She was a 12-year-old child that was kidnapped and raped.
Yes.
It's not sexy.
No, it's not like some temptress young thing that was like she was leading the way. Watch May December, y'all, for like a gender flip on this. Like, they're children. They cannot make the call. It's pretty gross.
Yeah.
It just rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, the Michael Rappaport character, who, again, doesn't really change. He's the one who refers to her as the local neighborhood Lolita, and she refers to him basically as a gross drunk, which I was like, that's appropriate. I'll allow it.
But it's still like he doesn't change. I mean,
no.
He's doing that to a kid. I mean, it's just...
Yeah.
Okay, could I do my impression?
Yes.
So this is, like I said, this when I heard this in the movie, Rappaport plays Paul.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I'd do this in the voice of Jordan Peterson.
Oh, I can't wait.
Because I feel like this is something Peterson would say. Supermodels are beautiful girls. Well, A beautiful girl can make you dizzy like you're drinking Jack and Coke all morning. She can make you feel high, full of the single greatest commodity known to man. Promise. Promise of a better day. Promise of a greater hope. Promise of a new tomorrow. This particular aura can be found in the gait of a beautiful girl. Oh, I'm going to vomit. Hope dancing in stiletto heels. I mean...
Yuck.
What? This is also a thing. Like, women cannot win.
No.
If you're beautiful, you're going to be treated like shit.
Yes.
If you're not beautiful, you're going to be treated like shit.
Yes.
If you're nice, you're going to be treated like shit. If you're not super nice, you're going to be treated like shit. You will be objectified as a 13-year-old
yes.
who's wearing overalls and a sweater.
Yes.
Like, not even. And if you're if you're Annabeth Gish and you're just perfect, you're going to be treated like he's settling for a nice lady.
Yes. That's exactly it. First of all, again, she's the fucking Gish. She's Gish the dish.
We love Gish.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
And she shows up. She's so nice. He was like, she's a 7.5. Fuck you. Cooks for his family. Is super sweet to his friends. Instantly clicks with everybody. Like, he runs off to, like, beat the shit out of someone, and she's like, did you go do your macho things? Like, she's super nice, and he's like, me. She's not as pretty as the 13-year-old that lives next door. Like, fuck you. You know.
And he's a piano man at a bar?
Exactly.
I mean, and she's a successful lawyer?
Yeah. Dude, fucking lock that shit down and worship at her feet. Is what you should be doing. That speech that, by the way, it was a very good Jordan Peterson.
Thank you.
I want to give you your props. That speech ends with like Michael Rappaport like yelling like, a beautiful girl is all powerful and that's as good as love. I'm like, what does that fucking mean? Like, what does that even mean?
I mean, yeah, you think she's so powerful, you're going to take her picture and tape it to your wall. But what does it mean? She's not there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and she's also a human being. You know, this is like you just can't have any. I want to bust my head open when I'm confronted with all this. It's so trivial. It's just insipid.
Yes.
And these man babies.
Yeah.
Are just, except for Noah Emmerich, by the way.
Yes.
Just treat women in their lives like garbage.
Yes. And he's treated as like, everyone's like, he's an idiot. Like, ew, I don't want what he has. That's gross. How boring. I'm like, and they were like, oh, what did they say? He's so dumb that he doesn't even know that he's a loser or something like that. And it's like, he's married with kids and he's so happy. Like, he's like, I mean, he's also like got weaponized incompetence. Like, at one point his kid's like dumping mustard on the ground and he calls for his wife to clean it up because he doesn't know how to do that. But that's a small thing that, you know, still in the universe of this movie is a fucking saint.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, what else? Let's see.
They lean on Rosie O'Donnell for the laughs.
Yeah.
And I think she could use, like, I mean, she gives that one, I'm sorry, but also, like, those are silicone boots. We've been hearing that forever.
Yeah.
But it's not news.
No.
And, you know, and when she's saying, like, oh, you look like Ali Sheedy. And then what does she say you look like? Oh, Kathy Bates. I'm like, ooh, that's not a... From Misery, Kathy Bates. Like, that's not a compliment.
You look crazy. You look like you would hobble a man.
Exactly. It's like, oh my God, but okay, but she takes it well. She laughs it off. But yeah, the writing, which is like, I kept reading over and over again, like, Ben Stiller loves this this script, and he got millions for it.
Yeah.
And part of me is, am I jealous? Sure, because I could write something that's shitty.
Yes,
I could write something like that, and but I just think like it's just emotionally dishonest. It's intellectually dishonest. It doesn't know what it wants to say.
Mm-mm.
And justice for Natalie Portman. This is not
this
cool.
movie, and the Professional, which came out right around the same time, she said that after these movies, like, she started picking different roles because she was attracting the kind of attention that she didn't want.
Yeah, and it was hypersexual,
yes,
older men.
Yes.
Which is awful, which is horrifying.
Yeah, it's icky. It's fucking gross.
Yeah.
And she's 13, and to get that kind of, she was getting letters from like really like older, it's super inappropriate. I feel so bad for her. Like that, it's hard enough to be a 13-year-old girl in the world because, again, you are being sexualized everywhere you go still. But to be like a famous 13-year-old girl. I mean, look at the girl from Stranger Things.
Yeah,
dude,
Millie Bobby Brown. It's
gross. They have like there's sites where they have like a countdown clock till she turns 18. That's nasty.
That was the Olsen twins.
The Olsen twins, yes.
And Brooke Shields. She was in parts when she was really young that, you know, I don't think parents should let their kids do.
Yeah.
But it was considered normal.
Yeah. And these countdowns and these jokes about, well, when they're 18, what it means is if you could, you would, but legally you have to wait till they're 18. I'm like, that's gross. You're not okay. See a doctor. That's nasty.
Yeah.
There's also a whole thing where like when Timothy Hutton and Noah Emmerich are talking and he's like, she's a child, like you're being wrong here. And he's like, maybe I'll wait, like all of that stuff. It's so nasty. And he says, I just want something beautiful, Mo. It's like, fuck you.
Amy. Fuck you to hell.
It's so...
It's never, they never explore their own insecurities.
No.
You know what I mean? There's never at least one moment where somebody goes, oh, I'm projecting my shit on another person and that's not okay. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't about what I think it's about. I need to go a little deeper.
No.
I don't want to be like this in 10 years.
No, this movie doesn't want to go that deep. It just wants to be a totally... What's funny is I think this movie... how am I going to say this right? It doesn't want to go that deep. It's like this movie's gross and problematic, and it doesn't want to explore why it is those things. It just puts it out there like it's normal.
Right.
And it's like, it's normalizing this kind of shit. And I'm like, this is not normal. This is not okay to behave this way. But it's making it feel like it's a rite of passage or everybody goes through this. But
like a guy in a small town that has a Mira Sorvino for a girlfriend, and he's sort of like shrugging his shoulders like, well, what?
Yeah.
She's beautiful. She's sweet. Like, what else does somebody need to be? Exactly. It's never enough.
Never. And then, you know, Timothy Hutton and the Gish leave for New York, and he introduces the Gish to Natalie Portman, and you know, and he says to Natalie Portman, like, I hope we stay in touch. Yeah, I fucking bet, you creep. Like,
and he kissed her.
Yeah. Ugh. Yuck. So yuck. I'm like, what else? I hope Annabeth Gish finds out that while Timothy Hutton was in that town, he was trying to fuck a 13-year-old and tried to fuck Uma Thurman.
Oh, propositioned her a few times.
Yeah, more than a few times. And she was like, no thanks. And asked again, no thanks. Tries again. And she's like, yeah, I think I'm just going to go back to Chicago. Like, every dude in that town is like this close to whipping it out for her. So she's like, I think I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
Sounds smart. Good call, Uma Thurman, in this movie. What else? What else should we say about this bullshit movie?
He calls his dog. What's he call her?
His adorable Saint Bernard is named Elle McPherson.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Elle McPherson deserves better, by the way. Like, but it's a cute dog, but come on. dude, whatever. Like, no, I can't believe Martha Plimpton would put up with him for 7 years. She seems way too smart for that.
Yeah, that is like a kind of odd casting.
Yeah.
'Cause she always seems smarter than the people she's with.
Yes. I actually don't know if Martha Plimpton's a really good actress, but I don't know if she could play a dummy. Like, she seems very smart to me.
Yeah, she's like Jodie Foster.
Yes.
They have like that. They have smarts about them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Anything else we want to say about this trash?
I don't have another Jordan Peterson impersonation, but I was thinking of him. Oh yeah, the beautiful girls.
Yeah.
There's such a problem.
I can
It's
see.
a conundrum, isn't it?
I sense that people will come out in defense of this movie, that there will people that will say it's problematic, but I find it comforting, or I watched it a lot on TBS, or, and that's, hey man, like what you like. That's fine. I just don't think this movie has aged well at all. I mean,
no, it's not aged well.
It was a problem at the time, to be honest, but like even now, I'm just like, it feels very icky to me.
It's also like, because I looked through a bunch of the reviews as well, and if it was a gay man or a woman, they were critical of the dynamics and age dynamics and just like the whole whiteness of the whole thing, the homogeny of it all. But straight dudes are just like, oh, yeah. Timothy Hutton and that Natalie Portman, isn't that sweet?
Oh my gosh, could you imagine if those roles were reversed? If it was like fucking Uma Thurman lives in the house and I don't know who's a kid that lives next door.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, lives next door, and she's like, hubba hubba. Like, how repulsed would people be? Like,
I mean, and say, like, I'm going to wait 10 years. I'm just not going to date anybody or do anything for 10 years till he's 23.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get together. That's the plan.
That movie would not be a comedy. It would be a thriller.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
That whole scene, I'm like, I want to wait 10 years and then it'll be perfect. What?
And he's really thinking about it.
Yeah.
They have a whole conversation where, like, she's like, you're going to be my new boyfriend. And he's like, really? Like, he's really thinking about it. And the way he acts and how he gets, like, shy and stutters around her, it's...
Talks about Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah. Yuck.
Ruining that for me.
Yeah. Later, Pooh. Winnie the Pooh. Justice for Winnie the Pooh. Do you want to hear about the other movies that came out the same month? February 1996?
Yes,
okay.
Please.
We have Black Sheep.
Which one's that?
That is Chris Farley and David Spade. The unfunny follow-up to Tommy Boy.
That's a shame.
Tommy Boy's a masterpiece. This one.
Big man in a little coat.
We did a whole episode on Tommy Boy, and the whole episode is basically the Chris Farley show. Remember when...
Everywhere.
This part was awesome. Okay, another hilarious movie, Dead Man Walking.
That's fun.
What a joy that one was. Oh.
Do you remember sitting in a movie theater watching that?
Yes.
Like the dread the whole time. I mean, it's really well done.
It
and
is.
The performances are great, but Jesus.
Yeah. It's not a fun watch. It's not rewatchable.
It's not an easy Oscar. That one is like you're showing up every day for hours. Just
other movies. White Squall.
Oh, that's is that Jennifer or Jason?
White Squall is that one with Jeff Bridges. I'm going to look it up. Jeff Bridges, Scott Wolf. They are like out on like a yacht or something. Oh, it's a school sailing ship that like tips over. And
Jennifer Grey was in one of those sailing boat movies, and this is before she got her nose job. I just read her biography.
Oh,
Out of the Corner, and she talks about that.
Well, aren't you glad that you finally watched Dirty Dancing so that you could?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now you get the reference.
Now I get all the references, and she said that, like, yeah, Patrick Swayze really hated me.
Oh, that makes me so sad.
But I get it, because I think dancers are intense.
Yeah. We love some Patrick Swayze on this show.
We do.
Another movie called The Juror, which I always want to call The Rural Juror.
The Juror. Is that with... It's a John Grisham movie, correct?
I think so, and it's got Demi Moore and Alec Baldwin.
Oh no, I don't think it is.
James Gandolfini. Well, it's got Joseph Gordon-Levitt. What if Joseph Gordon-Levitt was living next door to Demi Moore, and she was like, "I'm just gonna wait." This is the one with like a mafia trial, and she's a juror on it, and they're like tailing her and trying to scare her to make sure that she finds them not guilty. It's not good. Other movies. Broken Arrow.
Is that Christian Slater?
Yes. And John Travolta.
Okay. I do know I like John Travolta movies.
Yes, obviously. That's an entertaining movie.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore.
Aw, that's a fun movie.
Happy Gilmore makes me laugh stupid hard, and sometimes I'm almost embarrassed of it. And I would say at least once a week, I say, riding the bull. Look at him, riding the bull, doing the bull dance, feeling the flow. Mr. Wrong.
Who's that? What's that?
Ellen DeGeneres and Bill Pullman.
Oh, that poor movie. This is before she announced she was a lesbian. So
he was Mr. Wrong, all right.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh,
God.
Bill Pullman. He's my Mr. Right. I'd take it. Muppet Treasure Island.
Don't know it.
Oh, I love the Muppet movies.
I do like the Muppet Show. I just never seen that.
Yeah. Did we ever do Muppet Christmas Carol? Did we do that?
No, let's do it next year.
We should do it next year because I think it might be the very best Christmas Carol.
I think it is. I think it is, yeah.
Okay, two more. Bottle Rocket.
Yeah.
I liked it at the time. I haven't seen it. I don't know if I've seen it since. And then Mary Riley.
Mary Riley.
You have to say it like that. You have to.
That's the commercial said Mary Riley.
Mary Riley. It's not good.
Do you want to hear the top 10 songs of 1996, February 9th?
I can't
1996? Wait. Okay. This is very 96 here. Hold on to your, gird your loins, people. Number 10, Deep Blue Something, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Shit.
You could not escape that fucking song. Tony Rich, Nobody Knows.
I don't know that one.
I don't know it. La Bouche, Be My Lover.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Goo Goo Dolls, Name. Couldn't escape that.
I really like the Goo Goo Dolls. I can't explain it. I just do.
No, it's catchy. It's good. Yeah. Mary J. Blige, Not Gonna Cry.
She's a queen.
She is a queen. Here's My King. LL Cool J, Hey Lover.
I love him.
We do love LL Cool J. Number 4, Joan Osborne, One of Us.
I really like that song. It
Same.
is, and I think she has a phenomenal voice.
I agree.
It was very overplayed.
Yeah. Number 3, Everything But the Girl Missing.
Yes, that would be along with that Be My Lover song. You'd hear them both at the club. If I went to a club, they would have been playing there.
Number 2, Whitney Houston, Exhale, Shoop Shoop.
I really like that song, and we did a whole episode on that movie.
And number 1, Mariah Carey and Boys to Men, One Sweet Day.
Oh, that song is so sad. I don't want to ever hear that song. That and like It's So Hard to Say Goodbye. Fuck those songs.
I
get
bummers. They're just bummers. And I like Boys to Men,
yes.
BBD. And I have Boys to Men, BBD.
ABC, BBD.
And I loved Belle Biv DeVoe. They were really amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway, Yeah, no, but those are bummers. It's not like you put that on and it puts
No.
you in a good mood. You cook or something, you know.
Yeah, it's like it's so hard to say goodbye. One Sweet Day and Cats in the Cradle. There you go. Good times. Oh, that and Imagine by John Lennon. Actually, all of those make me sob. No, thank you. No, thank you. My friend, what else are you dorking out about?
I forgot to write down the name. It's the HBO series. It came back with Jodie Foster as the lead.
Oh yeah, True Detective Night Country.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah. I was counting the seconds till the episode dropped. Because that first season is fucking bananas, and I was so into it. I couldn't wait to watch. I really liked what I saw so far. I can't wait to see.
I think it's going to be good. I like it, and I kind of like that Jodie Foster's playing a meanie.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be interesting.
It's a good one.
Really good one. And then Netflix, An American Nightmare.
Oh, I watched all of that immediately.
Same. I think it was released like Wednesday night.
Yes.
And it's about a couple where they were kidnapped by this psychopath that lives in their neighborhood, and he absconds with the wife and takes her to Lake Tahoe. He sexually assaults her, and the boyfriend goes to the police, and they decide he's lying right away and decide that when the rapist dropped her off at her mother's house, like a few hundred miles away, that it was a Gone Girl situation.
They had all seen Gone Girl, and they were just like, this is a Gone Girl. That's it.
Which means it was like it's phony, and she was setting it all up.
Yes. They didn't pursue shit. They
put his phone on airplane mode. So when the kidnappers were calling, they would have been able to check on her.
Yeah.
And be able to get to her. And she was raped twice. And they would have avoided it the second time if they had left his phone not in airplane mode.
It is awful.
Unbelievable. The police are the worst. The Vallejo police. It's an embarrassment.
The FBI. Like, it turns out the FBI agent is like dating like the boyfriend's ex-girlfriend or something. Like, it is bonkers. And this all happened like in my backyard. This all happened in the Bay Area. It's a batshit story.
And the couple, by the way, like they were reunited. They did sue the police. They got a couple million. Good for them. And one of the reporters, Henry Lucas, is that
Henry Lee. Yeah.
He's a longtime Bay Area reporter. He was actually like, I feel bad. Like, I thought I was giving the proper information. The police don't say anything because they're cowards. And this poor couple have been through, but they get married and they have kids.
I know. I was I didn't know like the ending at all. I told Margot, like, I heard about the disappearance. And I had heard the whole like Gone Girl thing, but I kind of didn't know what happened after that. Like, surprise, the press kind of dropped the rest of the story because it made them look bad. So it's a pretty bananas Netflix series. It's done really well.
I think it is too. I think it's very respectful, especially the woman who was attacked. Like, she tells her story.
Yeah.
And it's just brutal. And also, like, when you're a victim, like, how do you prove that a crime's committed against you when the police don't want to believe it, which I've had friends go through this.
Yes.
And somebody said somewhere, they're like, well, if you're dead, maybe. Like, exactly.
It's so awful. Like, you have to have, well, honestly, sometimes it doesn't matter. I mean, you can fully have videos and pictures and texts and everything, and they're still just like, nah, like, we don't believe you, or
they want to go through the trouble.
Yeah. It's really, really well. And they interview a lot of other women who had also been a victim of this, and they were just like, they didn't believe them.
The police didn't think there was anything to connect with each other. And then the man who ultimately did it was a lawyer. I think, was he in the
and he was in the
services?
he was like in the Navy or something.
And he was a lawyer for immigrants. So he would do television interviews and stuff, but he was a total freaking psycho and and drugged these people.
Yes.
Like, and it's like, it's it's amazing, like how much she could recall and just keep her wits about her.
Yes.
And then he does this to her, and then she tells the cops, and they're all like,
Sounds fake.
It's so infuriating.
Yes.
And this is just, it still happens. This was not too long ago.
Nope.
By the way. It's just a few years ago.
It's very well done.
Yeah.
Two big thumbs up here.
Yes. Way up.
Yes.
2 big thumbs up, by the way, Siskel and Ebert for whatever we talked about today. Beautiful Girls.
Yeah.
And I just want to end. Yeah. I want to end it with Fargo, season ender.
So good.
Such a great season. If you haven't seen it, you can binge it now. They have all the episodes.
It's my favorite season since the first season.
It's right up there for me. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Yep. And Juno Temple can be in anything she wants. I will watch it. She's
so good. So her and John Hamm is really scary in this movie or in this show to me. I was really, really impressed with John Hamm.
The Hamaconda. He has a big dick, supposedly. He lays a lot of pipe.
He does. Oh my God. Look it up, y'all. Look it up.
Jordan Peterson, has a little dick, right?
He does. Of course he does. And we have to talk about that the part 2 finale of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, where Andy Cohen is going so easy on Monica. Why do you think that is? Any ideas?
I think he when he likes someone, he goes easy on them.
Yeah.
And I think there's something about Monica that he likes. I also, for me, I thought he was just like Mary. We say Mary's funny, and she is funny in an unconventional way. Yeah. She's also an asshole.
Yeah, huge asshole.
Ripping off people. And the way she was like talking, like she sits there, she avoided the first reunion. She's on there just for a few minutes because she's not a full cast member.
Yeah.
And then she's telling Angie to shut up and don't talk, and I'll tell you when to talk and all this stuff. Like, he doesn't call her out.
No.
And I think she's just as bad as, as bad as Jen Shaw. I don't think. I think she's got some shitty stuff going on in that church for hers, and it's been people have released audio of her, yelling at her congregants like they're not giving enough money and stuff. It just made me really, really angry. And whenever they do like 3 episodes, the second one's always kind of a dud. And I think for me, I thought Andy is just kind of losing steam. That's what I observed.
Oh, well, that could be it.
And it could be just exhausting, because it's so many texts, emails, screenshots. It's a lot.
I'll tell you what, too, when these women get into it, when they start yelling at each other, they don't stop. Even when he's like, okay, that's enough. Like, you need to stop now. They're like, it just keeps going. Like, they're all going to give each other headaches.
You should see it with New Jersey the last time. He actually closed his eyes and kicked his feet into the floor, going, stop! like a child.
Yes.
And those are just those accents. And I lived in Jersey, I can say that. Not great. But anyway, and Beverly Hills is having a good season. The whole thing on Beverly Hills is that Sutton says she has a small esophagus, and that's why she has problems eating sometimes. And then the new person, Anne-Marie, shows up, and all of a sudden she's like, I think she has an eating disorder. I've never heard of this. I'm an anesthesiologist, and I know these things. And it turns out she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about.
Surprise.
And so the National Anesthetist Association of America sent an Instagram post saying, Anne-Marie, you don't know what you're talking about. It's fantastic.
Was not on my bingo card for 2024.
No. Yeah, you never want to hear esophagus again after the season. Everyone's tired of it. But anyway,
Ew. I watched last night the disappearance of Cher Height.
Yes, and I did this after Beautiful Girl, so I had to watch Match Game. I told you I watched Match Game for an hour just to cleanse my brain. I loved Cher Height.
Yeah,
she's a brilliant. She was a sexologist. She was a woman that talked about women and sex and men and sex, and men once again. Goddamn babies can't handle any criticism.
They lost their fucking minds. Yes. And here's the thing. I've never heard of her.
Oh, I remember her.
No, I don't. And I'm one of these women that they're talking about where I was like, she's literally disappeared off the map for me. I missed all of this. And I'm like, how did I miss this?
I don't know, because I remember it being in the media. I remember when she was on Maury Povich and he's being slimy.
Fuck him.
She would do interviews, all the shows, Joan Rivers' show, everything. I remember her, and the men would talk over her. I remember one, they had Bobby Slayton on a show with her, and then she starts talking, and he interrupted her. I mean, treated with so little respect, and she just happened to be really beautiful and stood up for herself and didn't take nonsense. And everyone lost their goddamn minds. And they're all like, this isn't scientific enough. I'm like, you people quote every statistic from some godforsaken places, do whole pieces of trend pieces about it, but you're going to attack this woman and her, how she came up with what she came up with. Fuck you.
Also, the fact that
this
would make them so angry, because, so she sends out the survey. It's anonymous. She makes it herself on like a ditto machine, and she's just spreading the survey around. She's posting it in different magazines, and people are answering it anonymously. Women. The first round is women. I forget how many she has thousands and thousands of responses, and she goes through it and writes about things that are very true, by the way, about like how women are very different. Like what excites them is very different. That orgasms come from like clitoral stimulation. This is all true. This is like factual shit. And these men lost their goddamn minds. Like, no, women should only have orgasms through like penetration. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Gil Gerard, Buck Rogers.
Yes.
Like loses his temper at her. Like, well, then what do you need men for? I'm like, good point.
Also, why are you so mad?
Fuck better then. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's so weird. There's a weird thing too where she's like being interviewed by like Dick Cavett or something, and like David Hasselhoff is there, and he's like trying to chime in, and he's trying. He doesn't want to be crude, but he's trying to agree with her. Where he's like, I also know women who can't without like.
This is before, like 10 years before Monica Lewinsky.
Yes.
Like the talk about sex was either AIDS, teen pregnancy, and that was kind of about it. And then here's somebody talking about it clinically, but also because the Kinsey report and whatever the other one was before
Masters and Johnson's.
Yeah, it was very technical.
Yes.
It was very technical. This was very emotional.
Yes.
Like, this is like what women are feeling and at different ages and at different times in their lives. And what does sex mean to you when you're this young? What does it mean to you now that you're in your 50s and you're postmenopausal? Or, and these are important questions. If you give a shit about women, like, which, why do we need Feminism 101? Once again, like, because this shit exists still.
It's so interesting. She is saying so many things that I'm still hearing now. And again, she was new to me. And I'm like, I need to maybe read these books because I think she's very interesting. And she says, like, women have studied men like for generations, since the dawn of time, and tried to like adapt our sexuality to them and get our pleasure where we can, but giving them the most pleasure. And she's like, now here's an opportunity for men to learn what women want. And the men just like stamp their feet and plug their ear. Not all men, but these men do in the documentary, like her doing these talks. She does one where she does Oprah and the whole audience is men. And the men are losing the anger from these men it's about women's lib. It's not even about like her book necessarily, but they're so angry.
It's and I wish Oprah would say something.
Yeah.
I wish she because she never does. Like, it's always she's done with it when she's done with it.
Yeah.
But it was like that for her everywhere she went.
Yes.
And she always like had to work hard to, be able to be a writer for a living. It's not easy.
Yes.
And she worked very hard. She took her research was it on your bingo card that Gene Simmons would be one of her friends and one of her people who bolster her and tell her that you should take her seriously? I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Yeah. But she's fascinating. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us.
Yes.
But I think it would be an interesting TV series.
For sure. For sure. She was beautiful, just beautiful. And
which once again is used against her.
Yes, exactly.
Women can't win.
It's a very fascinating documentary because she wrote a book about women, but she also did one about men. And men
they never mentioned it.
And they were so angry about it. And again, like, I don't even understand why they're angry. It's like they're just like, it's all man bashing. And I'm like, she's not man bashing. She's like, this is what women want. And it's not just to be penetrated by you. And they're like, how dare you? How dare you? It's makes me angry because so much of the dialogue has not changed. So much of the conversation has not changed. And
no.
And this shit started, she started this in the 60s through the 70s. There's stuff with her in the 80s and 90s. And she did the Colbert Show in 2006. And they're obviously having a good time in that clip. It's very, how he won't even say the word clitoris. Because he's playing that character that he plays. But it's very well done. It's for rent on, I watched it on Prime.
Same. And it'll make you ragey. Don't do it after Beautiful Girls. Don't do that double feature.
I did the reverse. I watched the documentary first.
Last night because of it. Yeah, I had a rotten night's sleep because after that I had to read Ethan Frome for my next.
Oh boy!
I'm just either angry or depressed. So that's Match Game is going to be my.
No, that's such a good one. Blank Willow.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, he used his blank instead of, and then don't. Charles Nelson Riley and Brett Summers, that duo.
I wrote pussy here, but it's all sloppy. It's a sloppy pussy.
Richard Dawson, and they nail some jokes on that show, solid material.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about Paul Lynn in the center square.
Yeah.
I tell you, Match Game is up there. And there's people on YouTube who have they'll do hours of couples, or it's all JP Morgan, or it's all Betty White as a special guest. And God damn it, I love it.
Yeah. Look up some old Match Game. It's real good. You could also watch old clips of the Newlywed Game where you're like, what the fuck? This was a game that people played. Oh boy!
You always contest the couples that are going to break up.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's true. Oh boy, yeah, that wasn't a good double feature. Both you, it's so funny. You and I did the same double feature.
Yeah.
No wonder.
And then I texted you. I'm like, I'm watching Match Game. I'm going to bed.
So ragey. Oh, my friend, where can they find you on the internet?
My site is Brooklyn Fit Chick, and that's also my Threads and my Instagram. And then Brooklyn Margot, that's TikTok, and that's Blue Sky, though. I don't really use it. And Brooklyn Margot on Twitter, as long as that exists.
Yes. And if you like the sound of our voices, we also co-host a podcast called What a Creep, where we talk about creeps of the past and the present. We have an episode out right now about method acting. And it's not necessarily about how method acting's creepy. It's about when people take it too far. So it's a really fun one.
Yes.
Give it a listen. You can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on all the social media channels, the TikToks and Instagrams. And I'm trying to use Blue Sky more than Twitter, but y'all still seem to be on Twitter. So I'm trying. Email us.
On Threads.
Yeah, I should try more on Threads.
That's
Maybe I'll do that.
Paul F. Tompkins, by the way, did a great episode. The Daily Beast had a podcast.
Oh, yes.
With him, and he talks about comedy, and he was very ragey on Threads. They didn't tell him they were going to use the video.
Oh.
So he normally in a suit. He likes to wear suit, so he's wearing like a ski cap or something. He was really nuts.
Oh, so he wasn't in his usual uniform.
Right, but he has
wear.
a lot of great things to say about
Yeah.
comedy,
Oh,
like he
it's
always
real-
does, because he's brilliant.
Yeah, that was a good one. Email us at dorkinoutshow@gmail.com if you give us your address. We'll send you some stickers. They're adorable. Everybody drink. You can go to dorkinoutshow.com. All of our past episodes are on there. If you like us, maybe give us a review. It helps us find our people. And we're at Dorking Out Show on all the social media, the Twitters, the Threads, the Instagrams, the Blue Skies, all the things. This was really fun. I know this movie sucks, but it was really fun. Like, what are we going to do? Should we go drink some wine or something to get this out of our brains?
I can't even begin to think how I'm going to wash my brain. Our match game!
To the match game!